Hello everybody, welcome back to the stream. Good to see you. How you doing? Today we're going to be working on my drawers. We're going to be doing some work on my drawers. So anyway, going to be continuing what we did yesterday, or what we were working on yesterday, which was basically trying to get the map to be able to be shown when you're in an event. And that is going to be tricky for a number of reasons, but I think I have an idea of how to go forward. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes. I think there's just going to need to be a lot of testing and just careful thinking, but you know, I don't know. Like I said, we'll see how it goes. But anyway, the Alchemortis playtest is still live. It's going to be live for another 4 or 5 days or so. So you've got plenty of time. If you go to the Steam page, click request access, you'll get immediate access. Also add it to your wish list while you're there. I would appreciate it. Alchemortis is an inventory management auto battler where you can create your own builds using alchemy. So if that sounds fun, check it out. You could also support the game and the development by subscribing on Patreon. If you subscribe to the sponsor tier here for at least 1 month, I'm going to send you a key for the full game before the game releases. So what that means is that if you subscribe on Patreon to the sponsor tier for at least 1 month, you will not have to buy the game on Steam. I'm going to send you a key as a thank you for supporting the development early, and your name will also be listed in the credits. So everyone who has ever subscribed to this tier will be listed in the credits. What I'll probably do for fairness sake is I will list the credits in the order of who ended up supporting the most in terms of, financially. So whoever's been subscribed for the longest time or for the most time will be at the top of the credits for that Patreon section. And then we'll do, probably the order that we'll do is amount contributed, and then if 2 or multiple people have contributed the same amount, then we'll just do alphabetical within that little section. Anyway, that's a minor detail, I suppose, but something I've been thinking about because we need to add the credits screen soon, because the credits screen, this is why I was going through that tangent. The credits screen is going to be available in the demo. So when the demo comes out in the near future, the credits screen will be in there. So this is your chance to get your Patreon subscriptions in so that your name can be in the credits. I will leave open this tier, this set of perks until the game releases. So you'll still have a period of time between the demo launch and the game launch where you could subscribe here to get these benefits. And I'll just patch in any new names that end up needing to be put in the credits screen. But once the game releases, there will be no more of those perks. I also have my Udemy courses, that kind of thing, ads. Sorry to say I don't have any other sources of income, so we have to do these ads every stream. But thank you all for your support. It's very appreciated. And you are the reason, everyone who's bought my courses, everyone who's subscribed on Patreon, is the reason that I've been able to build Alchemortis full time. So thank you for that. It's very, very much appreciated. Definitely an opportunity that I feel very grateful to have, and even if Alchemortis doesn't do well, I'm happy that I had the opportunity to pursue that. So thank you, everyone. Anyway, Emerson, hello, welcome. Good to see you. Hello, Clicker Tail. Mems Dev, welcome back. Good to see you. Monkey Software wiping the sleep from my eyes. Yeah, I just got up like an hour ago too, so I'm still waking up myself, but we're here. Slept in today. I'm still droopy like a plant with not enough water. Yeah, I stayed up too late. Me and my friend, we love extraction shooter style games. So we've been playing Mistfall Hunter, and I just stayed up way too late playing that game. But it's okay. I don't want to brag, but we're pretty good. There's no duos in that game. It's just solos and trios, but we play duo with no fill. So we're just fighting 2v3 all the time, and we do pretty well. I think our odds of victory are much stronger than a typical 2v3. Anyway, enough bragging about video game stats. I need to fix these things. Card Katana paralyzed by damage but declares no description magnitude funk. Oh, that's probably fine, actually. Yeah. Oh, wait. No, that doesn't make any sense. Contains seconds. Is that wrong? Oh, wait. Maybe I need to build this. I want to fix these before we do other drawer stuff. I want to fix some translation issues. So my translation generator, it serves a couple of purposes. One, the primary purpose is it generates the translation file from the source code, right? Interesting. Oh. Description seconds magnitude func is equal to half second. So my translation generator, not only does it generate the translations, but I also have some like validation built into it to make sure that I'm setting things up correctly. Card oil adjacent fire speed. Oil adjacent fire speed. Here it is. By 1 seconds per. Okay. So that would be base reduction per second. So we want to do description seconds, magnitude func, base reduction per second. So basically, this is getting a little bit complex, but so some translation strings have a singular and plural form, which basically changes like whether it says item or items. But then I have another problem, which is that if there's like a seconds value or any other secondary value, there could be a second plural word as well. And so what I worked on is I just did a very narrow change for this one for seconds. So for example, I could have the plural form of this ability with the singular form of seconds, right? So because it's like 1.0 second, right? So essentially there's like a quasi matrix being built where it's programmatically generating like all the different variants for me. But that means that I have to define like when those variants need to be used. So anyway, it's a little bit annoying. Translation is not fun, but I'm glad that I have tooling for it at least, because that makes it a lot nicer to work with. Seconds. If this cooldown is seconds or greater, magnitude to seconds. Description, no. Oh wait. Oh, is that the wrong one? This one here. Magnitude to seconds, current paralysis duration. Description seconds, magnitude func is current paralysis duration. Okay, let's build. We'll make sure all those little warnings go away. Hello, Snutbill. Thank you for the IDR 10,000. Very much appreciated. Thank you. With the message Yummers. Welcome back. Good to see you again. I made collision shapes to my character and barriers and chose the same layer. Character just passes through the barriers. So layers are, you have to use the masks basically. So the way to think about it is the layer is the collision layer in which that collision or area or physics body 2D exists, right? And then the mask is the layer that it checks for collisions against. So two things existing in the same layer are not necessarily going to collide with each other. You need to have them set to have the same masks as well. And to make that relationship more explicit, I would actually take your terrain or whatever your static bodies are, set those to have like whatever layer. Let's just say it's bit flag 1. Like bit 1 is the layer in which your terrain or your collidables exist. And then I would not put the player on that layer and instead set the mask to the bit value that corresponds to 1, right? So that's the way I like to structure the relationships, is like the player is the one that's concerned with colliding with the terrain, right? The terrain is not concerned with colliding with the player. It's just a static, non-moving thing, right? So the way I like to conceptualize it is like the terrain just like passively exists in this layer, and then the player actively looks for collisions against that layer by defining that mask. Does that make sense? Have a great dev sesh. Thank you. Welcome, Ryo. Declares, but template contains seconds 2 times. Only a single occurrence can be derived. Oh. Well. Dang it. If this item's cooldown is seconds or greater. This is... whatever. I guess I can't do that. So I can fix Katana, but I can't fix the oil, I guess. Reduce the remaining cooldown per... yeah, so there's seconds twice. Okay, so I still have to fix that, whatever. We'll fix the Katana at least, I guess. Good morning, Necromantic. I ended up copying your Godot layout. It's pretty convenient to have everything on one side. Yeah, I think so. I use the drag and drop a lot. I mean, I guess I've been using quick load a lot more, but it's so nice to be able to just go like, oh, scenes, drop in my scene here, right? It's like you don't have to drag so much. With this window on the right-hand side, I feel like, yeah, I just feel like this grouping makes more sense to me. But, you know, it's personal preference. Okay. Fix Katana seconds translation. Okay, so let's actually go to the main, let's accomplish the main goal of this stream now. I'm gonna close this. Let's go to view map and events. Git pull rebase origin master. Successfully did that. Last time I did a force push, it like erased things, so hopefully that doesn't happen this time. Okay, I think we're okay. Let's just do a .NET build. Before I start Godot. Okay. Made mask 1 and layer 1 for each other. How do you feel about the current timeline for Alcobord? Is on track, a little bit behind something else? I feel on track. I think at this point, the worst case scenario is that the game will launch with less content than I'm hoping to launch it with. So that's the worst case scenario. And I think the worst, that's fine. So let's just say that, oh, I'm 40 items short of where I wanted to be at launch. That's okay, because I can finish those 40 items after launch, right? And release them as a content patch, which actually might even be good for the game, because people, you know, maybe I get those items out right around the time where people are starting to get, you know, maybe familiar with the game, or they already saw everything they're going to see, and then boom, I hit them with 40 new items, right? So that's the worst case scenario. So I think I'm feeling pretty okay about it. And the other thing too is like, well, I guess the nuclear option is, you know, we delay the game a little bit, but that is like 100% a nuclear option. I don't want to ever use that. So I'm basically treating the deadline as if it's a hard deadline that's not movable. But circumstances change and all that stuff, but I'm not even thinking about that as an option, really. So yeah. We're treating the deadline as a hard deadline. And I will cut whatever content or features or whatever else needs to be cut to meet that deadline. Hello, Dozy Burrito. Also, welcome to the stream. I'm Magic I Am. Good to see you again. So let's take a look at what this is currently like, and then we'll try to evaluate what we need to do here. So the thing that I was getting a little bit stuck on is, let's say, so I can view the map from here. I need to put the drawer back into a good state here because these elements are still not clickable. The drawer needs to be collapsible. So it gets force opened in this state where I can't actually close the inventory over here. I can switch to the map though, so that's good. The other problem though is like, what happens if I sell this and I click to go to the map and then it transitions to the map again? Actually, maybe that works. So yeah, I'm just trying to think. Actually, can I make this work? Transition to map. So I think what I need to do is so see, I got into a bad state here because the map transition did not happen correctly, and so this node was not marked as visited. That's the kind of situation that I need to avoid. And then of course I can click that there, but that's a different issue entirely. So what do I want to do? Well, which problems do I want to solve first? What I'm curious about is fixing this drawer UI. So is force expanded? Oh man, this is a little bit complex. I was thinking last night, maybe I should just dramatically simplify this. I think that may be the easy thing to do. Oh man. The other problem is we've got the combat widget here that needs to be dealt with. I really don't know what to do here. Try open alchemy. Is alchemy open equals true? So when I go to the map, I need to collapse the drawer and make it not openable. That's completely broken. That's okay. So if I go into a booster and I open up the inventory, this should all collapse. until I switch back. Why is that moving so fast? Did something change with the animation? I just have to be really careful with this because it's going to be a source of a lot of errors. I'm trying to think, like, is there an easier way I can do this without introducing a bunch of complexity? Why does that open so fast? I feel like that's way too fast. Let's check this out. Reload from disk. Run again. Happy to be here. That's great. Maybe it's just that fast. I don't remember it being that fast. Interesting. Okay. Well, let's go back to view map events. Reload from disk. Okay, so I think I just need to figure out a way to radically simplify this. This works. Those drawers need to go out, but they need to go out in a way that doesn't change any of the internal drawer state. So what I may do is... bool visual only equals false. No, that's not going to work. So this is player board open. So these flags, I don't think I want to set these flags. I don't think I want to change these. I mean, maybe I should. I almost wonder if I should create a state machine for this. Maybe I'll create a state machine actually. Setup event. Is force expanded current event. Why do I need the current event? Can create combat widget, can remove combat widget. Okay. All right. So that's the problem, the combat widget too. Because if I'm in a combat, and then I go and look at the map, if it frees the combat widget, I need to recreate. I need to recreate the combat widget. Because that's going to have some state related to the combat. Why is this so difficult? Well, if event type equals max health or enemy board is not equal to null, create combat widget for enemy board. Initialize is alchemy open with enemy board. Start combat pressed. Okay, I guess I'm just gonna need to add some guards against like creating invalid states and whatnot. I don't know, let's just go ahead and just start writing something and see what happens. I think I do want to have some kind of state machine. I think that's going to simplify the logic a little bit. So it is what? Simple state machine. So drawer UI, simple state machine. Let's just define this all in here. State machine.add state, state closed, state machine, add state. State alchemy. State event. Okay, so I think 4 states. So we've got the closed state, which would be just closed on the map. We've got state open, which would be open on the map. We've got state event, which would essentially be the same as forced open. And then we have, so state event is basically just forcing the inventory to remain open. And then state event open would be opening the alchemy during that. So state machine dot set initial state to state closed. Okay. So let's just go ahead and try this. So private void state closed. Let's stub all these out for a second. Private void state open. Okay. Private void state event. And then private void state event open. Oops, I forgot the void. All right, so where is this try open here? So setup event. Is force expanded? Okay, so all this stuff is going to go away. So what we want to do is we want to say, state machine dot change state state event. Let's grab that out of there. We'll put this in here. Okay. State event open. We're also going to do this. And we're going to do try open. I think that's all I need to do. So let's see. On inventory toggle button pressed. Is inventory open? Is alchemy open? So I think I need to define some state transitions in here instead of doing that. So what I want to do is I want to say if, so let's just do var current state is equal to state machine dot get current state. If current state is equal to state closed, then what we're going to do is we're going to do state machine dot change state state open. Else if current state is equal to state open, we're going to change to state machine change state state closed. Else if current state is equal to state event, state machine change state state event open, and then else if current state state event open. So my state machine is very basic. It doesn't have transitions in it. So I kind of need to manually do this. So that blows up that a little bit, but that should hopefully be a little bit nicer. So if we go to state open, we just do like a try open here. State closed, try close. So I think I need to define some leave states as well. So I think what I'd want to do, if I do leave state event open, I'm going to do try close. And let's also just do this. Well, let's just do that. Oops. I actually don't think this is going to work. I actually don't think this is going to work. On map pending entered. So I think what I need to do actually is we've got leave state event. So I think what I need to do is force expanded equals true there. Leave state event open. See, the problem is I don't know which state I'm going to here. So if I'm in the event open state, if not is alchemy open and dragon card is not equal to null, state open. So wait, if the alchemy is open, does it just stay in the event state? Wait a minute. I don't think this is going to work. I don't think this is going to work. There's just too much, there's too many states that this drawer can be in. Expressing it as a state machine, I would need to create like probably 3 or 4 more states, which is just going to be even more confusing. Wow, this is incredibly difficult. It is incredibly difficult to just get these states to work without creating all kinds of edge cases and issues. And what am I going to do about this? So one of the problems here is that if I'm in the state event open, so this would be like I'm in an event, so the inventory is forced open. And I say, so I'm in that event state. Let's say that I finish an event, but I've got a card that I'm dragging. Or let's just say that the alchemy is open. Actually, maybe this will be fine. No, maybe it won't be fine. Yeah, so the problem is I won't do anything. I won't do any state changes if the alchemy is currently open when we re-enter the map. So when I finish taking an item from a booster, I open up the alchemy. The transition to the map happens in the background. The transition to the map happens in the background, but the problem is I'll be stuck in this state event open state. And so when I go to click on the button again, where is that? When I go to click on the button, this is going to try to go back into the event state. Yeah. So this is going to try to go back in the event state, and I have no way of getting back to these states from there. So that's not going to work. This is the hardest thing I've worked on in a long time. I don't think this approach is going to work. I don't think this is going to work. Okay, well, what do we do instead? Just have a generic state machine? I do, yes, I do. Hello, Footlong Icicle. Hello, Fork. You catch, oh yay, catch the stream after 30 minutes instead of 3 hours. Awesome. Welcome. I'm new here. What game are you making? I'm making Alchemortis. It's a dark fantasy roguelite inventory management auto battler where you can use alchemy to create your own builds and synergies. The Steam description or the Steam page is linked below, and there's also a playtest which you can join from the Steam page. So give it a try if you're interested. Hello, V. Welcome back. All right, we're going to undo this. That's not going to work. Man, I really don't know what to do here. I'm trying to think, is there a way I can really, really simplify this? Is inventory open? I'm thinking if I just do animation only, no, that's not going to work either. Oh, fudge. Honestly, I don't know. This may not be workable. All right, let's try it with emit signal map toggle requested. Map toggle requested. I don't even know where to start untangling this stuff. The only other thing I can think of doing is doing something like bool force equals false. Is force expanded and not force. Let's just do this real quick. So let's do try close true. Let's just see what that does. This is not going to work either, though. The animations are going to be sequenced incorrectly. Oh, that didn't even do anything. That's cool. Oh, I forgot to pass in the force, that's why. Force. Will do. I love watching people make games. Also in the process of making my own game, just having trouble making or getting art. Yeah, that is a problem. But you could join the Discord if you want, Shadow Marco. The Discord link is also below. We like to share our game projects in there. Why did that not close the player board? And it needs to reopen as well. Oh, if is force expanded and not force, this is just a recipe for disaster. This is just a recipe for disaster, but let's see. We're just going to try it anyway. So when I toggle it back, I need to reopen it. So let's make this a little bit more reliable. So let's do signal public delegate void transitioned to map. Signal public delegate void transitioned to UI. Event handler. Okay. So what I need to do on combat entered setup event. So inside of setup event, we're going to do var run manager. Do I have a reference to the run manager? I don't. Run manager, connect to transitioned to map on transitioned to map. Run manager, connect to transitioned to UI on transitioned to UI. On map pending entered. Var run manager is equal to run manager disconnect from transition to map on transitioned to map. Run manager disconnect from transitioned to UI. Okay. So private void on transitioned to map. Private void on transitioned to UI. Try open. So in the run manager now, transition to UI, game events dot emit. No, not game events. Let's put it after the swap as well. Emit signal transitioned to UI. Emit signal transition to map. So what happens if I do this now? There's going to be a lot of situations where this can break, but let's see. That is opening the alchemy as well. That seems to work though. That makes me nervous. Let's not do the disconnecting actually. Let's simplify it a little bit more. Let's grab this and put this up in the ready here. And what I'm gonna do, we already have a run manager. So what I'll do is connect all of these up here. I guess I don't care if these are nullable. Ah! Oh, right. Whatever. Doesn't matter. Maybe it does matter. Oops, wrong button. Wrong button again. Okay. So here, what we're going to do is we're just going to say, I don't know if this is a good idea either. Maybe it's fine. If current event is equal to null, we're just going to return. If current event is equal to null, return. So we'll just ignore it if we're currently not in an event. Okay, we want to do try close true, try open, skip alchemy true. Okay. So I'm just trying to take a very minimal approach to this. I'm going to have to introduce a bunch of state. I probably want to disable and hide this button based on whether I'm in an event or not. But if I do this, so I'm in an event, I still can't click anything. That's kind of unfortunate. I can't scroll the map either, so I don't know what's going on there. Gonna have to figure that out. So that is collapsing the drawer. Now the problem is I don't want to be able to open the inventory in that state. So I think what I'll do is when I'm in an event and I transition here, I'm basically gonna hide the inventory button and disable it and just make this button the return to event button or whatever. Maybe I'll have some kind of indicator that you're in an event. You have to switch back to here. Open the inventory, switch back to that, switch back to that, open that. Yeah, I don't know. Fudge. See, I can break it. I don't think there's a way to do this without... So if I want to do this in like the foolproof, guaranteed way, I have to rework like how all of the states work in my run manager and also in my drawer UI. Because otherwise I'm just going to be throwing a bunch of booleans all around the code base, and there's going to be weird edge cases that are impossible to understand because they only happen when like 5 different conditions are met, and some of those conditions will have like a half a second window where they can be met, and so I'll miss it in my own testing, and then a player will get soft locked in the demo, and then they're going to hate the game, and then they're going to send me death threats, and it's just going to be a whole thing. So yeah, we have to think about this. I'm being dramatic, but I think you get the point, though. Might be a whiteboard and see all the possible transitions moment. I mean, yeah, that's the problem, is like all the possible transitions are... I mean, there's not really... Yeah, I guess... There's not a whole lot of transitions that can happen, but there's a lot of edge cases. I feel like scripting is the worst part for me. I've been using GameMaker for a while and I'm contemplating learning a different language. GameMaker is tough. Like, GameMaker presents itself as being very, like, friendly with an easy scripting language, but when I was using GameMaker, at least, and this was like 2016, it looks easy on the surface, but it was actually incredibly hard to do very basic things because the language wasn't sophisticated, right? So it kind of sounds counterintuitive, but I think it makes sense. Like, the less sophisticated a language is, the harder it is to do sophisticated things, right? Versus if you've got something like GDScript and Godot, which has a bunch of like built-in engine functionality for you, it might be a little bit harder to understand. It might be a little bit less approachable initially, but it actually becomes easier in the long run to make more sophisticated things. Yes, that's true. Godot does have. Clicking this live was the best thing I've done today. That's great. I'm glad to hear that. What engine and language is this? It's Godot with C#. Welcome, Merib. Good to see you. GDScript feels pretty straightforward and it was easy to pick up. Yeah, GDScript is great. I love GDScript. I don't have anything against GDScript at all. I just, I'm just used to C#. I like the structure C# gives me, but GDScript, I've always enjoyed like writing GDScript. I've always enjoyed reading GDScript. I think it's just like, it's like the perfect mix of ease of use and power. I really do like GDScript. I think it's great. I think GameMaker recently made it so JavaScript, TypeScript can be used. Oh, interesting. Well, that's cool. Yeah, I mean, like I said, that was, whatever, 10 years ago now. because I think the last time I used Game Maker Studio 2 was in 2016. Well, let's just check my timeline. Game Maker Studio 2 release date, initial release date. Yeah, November 2016. So I was right. So I think the timeline, and it was a little while ago, but I think, so I started using Game Maker Studio 2 when the first betas came out. I was a senior in college, and I remember being initially impressed with Game Maker Studio 2, but it still felt very limited to me. And it was right around early 2017, the first 3 or 4 months of 2017, that I was looking for alternatives. And I think that's when I started using Godot in that period of time, because I was like, man, this Game Maker Studio 2 isn't cutting it. I want to explore different engines. And that was back in the Godot 3.0 alpha days. So let me check and make sure I'm not lying to you as well. So let's see. What was the Godot 3.0 alpha initial release date? The initial alpha release of Godot 3.0 was officially released on July 26, 2017. So yeah, 2017 is when I started using it. Maybe I didn't start using the 3.0 alpha when I was still in college, because that would have been a month and a half after I graduated. I must have started using... See, I remember using Godot in a lecture. I was sitting in class and I was using Godot. Maybe it was like a pre-alpha version, because I don't think I ever used Godot 2.1. Or not 2.1, 2. Whatever. Godot 3.0 pre-alpha release dates. Yeah, I guess I don't remember exactly what I was doing, but that was a long time ago. I've only used Game Maker a little. The one thing I really liked was the built-in sprite editor. Yeah, that was nice. I mean, but I'm coming around to the opinion that, like, I would rather my tools be specialized and then I open a bunch of different tools at once than have one tool that tries to do everything. So, like, you know, there have been suggestions in the past for Godot to have an integrated sprite editor, and I'm just like, no, I mean, like, there are so many other sprite editors that do a better job than Godot could ever do. Any implementation of like a sprite editor in Godot would just like be next to useless for people who are used to working with more sophisticated tools, right? I mean, I don't even agree with adding like Git support to the editor itself. Of course, all the files that Godot generates should be compatible with Git, but like, I don't think there should be any version control, anything built into the engine UI at all. Like, I think you should just use external tools for that. Because again, it's just going to be half-baked. You know, you got to find maintainers to like make sure it's updated, and it just reduces the focus of the engine. So that's my opinion. Like, the engine should just be the engine. Any other extraneous tools or whatever should be other tools. Hello, David. Welcome back. Good to see you. With Godot, you have additional ways to protect your source code, or do you not care about that? You can encrypt your files, but I personally don't care. Like, my attitude is like, if the Slay the Spire devs didn't care enough to like go through a lot of effort protecting their code, then why should I care, right? Was using Unity, but I couldn't figure it out. Then switched to Godot after my friend recommended me a month, and I like it so far. Awesome. Do you have any secrets for staying motivated on a project? I'm also making a video game, very small one, and sometimes I get stuck and demotivated for weeks and months. Yeah, the motivation is the wrong thing. So I've said this before, but I guess it's worth repeating. The motivation comes and goes. The motivation is like peaks and valleys. When you're doing something really fun in your project, it's easy to like jump on the computer or work for hours, right? But then there are going to be times where like the thing that you have to do for the game is just not fun at all. So the motivation is like a passive response to whatever you happen to be doing at the moment in your project. The thing that you can keep a constant though is the discipline, right? The discipline of working a little bit on your game every day or every other day or whatever, just some kind of consistent schedule where you say, what I'm doing right now is not that fun. It's not going to be that fun, but it has to get done. And so I'm just going to dedicate, 4 hours a week to it. And I'm going to stick to that. Because it's the discipline that's going to get you through those times where you're not motivated. And then eventually you'll get motivated again because you'll start working on something that's really fun. And then you won't have to like force yourself to work on anything. So yeah, it's the motivation comes and goes. That's a function of like whatever you happen to be working on at the moment, whatever problem is like catching your interest and that you really want to work on. And then there's going to be things that aren't like that you just have to work through. So there's not a silver bullet solution to that. There's no magic or secret trick. It's just, you just have to like bite the bullet and get through the sucky parts. And that's the only way to really do it. My small monk brain has hot projects constantly, so I never get anything done. Working on plugins at least makes that work transferable. That's true. I have Project B, which I work on when I lose motivation on Project A and vice versa. Thank you, motivational coach. You're welcome. Wise words, thank you very much. Yeah, you're welcome. I'm sorry I can't give you a better answer. I think that's just the reality of it, though. There are sucky parts, there are parts that are a slog, and the difference between finishing a game and not finishing a game is how well you can get through those parts that suck. Okay, so I still don't know what I'm going to do here. So if I could figure out why I was getting stuck. Right, so the problem is I could initialize a transition to the map. I could initialize a transition to the map through the UI. That will block any automated transition to the map, which would set the node as visited. So yeah, this is just... I'm well and stuck, to be honest. Like this state stuff is so complex, and I feel like I can't do anything without greatly introducing a risk to soft lock things. I might have to chew on this problem a little bit more. I mean, the core issue that I need to fix now is that if I click the button to transition to the map and the run manager wants to transition, the run manager's transition is going to be blocked because of this is UI transitioning flag. And so it will never execute this action, which would be required because that, drives some kind of state. I'm just kind of lost. Like, how do I disentangle this? I have no idea. I have no idea how to get this to work. Okay, well, this is basically... on map pending entered. Emit signal map transition entered. Should show map. Yeah, I need to think about this some more. Any tips where I can make my art? Where you can make it? Like what app you can use to make art? Or if you want literally the same thing for free, you could get LibreSprite. Oh, right. A-Sprite, yeah. Unfortunately, the secret is work, that's true. Maybe states with contexts? No, I'm trying not to introduce a bunch of extra context that I need to manage. So the core problem is not that I can't solve this with like a bunch of extra flags and data. The problem is that introducing a bunch of extra flags and data increases the surface area for errors because it creates a lot more state that you need to manage. So the thing that I'm trying to figure out is like, what is the minimal change I can make that introduces the least possible risk of error that will also accomplish what I want to do. That's the part where I'm stuck. I'm not stuck, like there's a million and one ways that I can do this, and all of the 1 million ways that I can think of are not, that don't sit right with me. Have you experimented with any AI-assisted coding with Godot, or do you plan to? Yeah, I use Claude sometimes. I use Claude for doing rote tasks and helping track down bugs and all that kind of stuff. I've also been using it, especially when I push patches to the playtest, which is running right now. I often will ask Claude to do a review of my changes to make sure that I didn't miss any edge cases or that I didn't introduce any new errors or unintended side effects. So having it as like a code reviewer is very helpful too. It's caught a couple of issues just doing that. So I use it as a way of giving myself more confidence that the change that I'm pushing to the live branch that players are actually playing is suitable or not buggy. All right, well, I'm not going to sit here stuck on this all day. Let's just go and do some more content. We'll just do more content, it's fine. I honestly don't even know. Like, part of me is like, maybe I just don't implement this feature, at least at release. Because it's so dangerous. But I need to think about it more. Maybe there's something, maybe there's an approach that I'm not thinking of, or maybe there's a way I can rewrite a large chunk of the code to make it more bulletproof and intentional. I mean, one thing that I'm considering doing is in the run manager, I could actually maybe add different states. No, that probably wouldn't work either. Yeah, I have no idea. I have no idea. Bug fixing reviews have been the primary areas where I've found it useful as well. But I was wondering if you use it for any meaningful code generation. No, I don't use it for meaningful code generation. And the reason is because I need to have an understanding of how my system works. And I feel like, you know, the AI writing chunks of code that are actually critical to the game is essentially the same as like somebody else writing the code, right? And so even if I'm the one guiding it and babysitting it and whatnot, I don't get the same level of understanding that I would if I just do it myself. So I'll use it for planning sometimes, like if I'm not sure how to approach implementing a feature. I actually tried to do this last night for the drawer UI stuff, and I did not like the plan that it was trying to come up with. So I just disregarded it. But sometimes it comes up with useful plans, or I can work with it to create a plan for implementation. But then I usually go and just implement it myself then. It's good as a brainstorming tool. Good for, you know, just running an idea by it. Like, hey, I want to do X, Y, and Z thing for this feature. Here's my plan. What do you think? You know? So yeah, I definitely think it's a useful tool. I just try not to rely on it to do the actual like gameplay, systems design, and programming and stuff. Do you write tests? I have like 3 tests in the game, only one of which is useful. So no, not really. Not really. Let's go. 10 stream streak. Very nice. All right, so we're gonna do some content. We'll salvage this stream since I've been sitting here for like 40 minutes doing nothing. So we'll do some more content, but I'm gonna take a quick 3-minute break, and when I come back, we will get started on that. Okay, it's me, I'm back. All right, let's do some content. I'm looking forward to this because content is relatively easy, I think. Alrighty. Enchant ideas. Cause reagents to be applied twice. Actually, let's take a look at the Discord too and see what the recent suggestions look like again. Alchemortis suggestions. Here we go. Just scrolling through the suggestions channel. Interesting. Ooh, there's a cool reagent idea. So this one's from Jack. Inverse the effect of any adjacent protection reagents. Actually, I wonder... So there's something interesting I could do. So let me explain what I'm thinking. This actually may be hard, but let's see. I think my biggest struggle is trying to make things perfect on the first go. Yeah, I mean, I think that's understandable. I think the desire to make something perfect or look good is important to a degree, but yeah, there can be an excess of that, right? Like where you just don't get anything done. I think, I don't know, the way I think about it is I kind of think of like you kind of approach perfection over time. And so if you think about it like, well, it will get better over time, it becomes a little bit easier to just say it's good enough for now and I'll revisit it later. And I find that that's often helpful. Like I find that it's very hard to do something right in game development, like perfectly the first time. You kind of almost have to like get everything into the game and like loosely fit together first before you even know like what the perfect version of something looks like, or what the, maybe not perfect, maybe that's too high of a standard, but like what the really good version of something is like. Like you almost have to see all the pieces in context to each other before you can even know what it means for something to be really good. And I think that's why like just having a mind for iterating is really important. Like I just kind of think of it like, yeah, just get something down, get something in, loosely fit all the pieces together, see roughly how they're looking, and then you can just identify the places where the interactions need to be tightened up, or the art needs to be tightened up, or you can identify like, you may even identify something that is not working, and so you just cut it when you would have spent, you know, hours quote unquote perfecting it. You may find that in the context of everything else, actually it doesn't really work that well, so we don't even need that, right? Anyway, so here's what I'm thinking. So we've got this newt tail, right? This says no fire abilities of adjacent items will be replaced by alchemy. See, I actually don't know how I'm going to do this, but I was going to kind of take Jack's invert idea, and we introduce another reagent that will basically, you could place that reagent in with a newt tail, and you would get a new reagent out that would invert this. So all fire abilities will be removed or something. But now I'm wondering, like, I don't even know how I would explain that. It might be better just to create separate reagents for that. I'm trying to think of, like, is there one reagent I can do? Like, maybe the reagent I could do, like, there's an opportunity to introduce some more randomness into the reagents. It would be a little bit difficult to get that into the save file, I think, but I could do one reagent that randomly drops with the ability to remove all abilities with a certain keyword, right? So instead of, I have like whatever, 10 keywords, instead of making an individual reagent for each keyword, removes this reagent, removes that, what I could do is I could have one reagent that when it gets created, it randomly determines a keyword to remove. And so it's just one item, but every time you get that item, it changes whichever keyword it's going to remove. And that would be a really interesting item. So not only would that be me being lazy, so I don't need to create a bunch of like artifact or reagents that do the same thing, but that would actually make that item kind of unique. Now the question is, how do I actually make that work? I don't think I have the concept of an item dropping with some kind of random. I guess the piranha does. But you know what I'm realizing about the piranha? This is not using the seeded value. So that means that, oh yeah, that's actually kind of a problem. Uh-oh, we're going off on a side quest now. So this piranha will drop with a random cooldown between min and max. But the problem is this is not using the seeded runs seed. And so the problem is that when a piranha drops from a booster, for example, so if I go to my booster configuration, when I pick the items, they're not going to drop the same way. So what I may actually do is, this RNG is only being used in one spot. So what I could do is I could do something like for each var I random, for each, like, let's say randomize on drop or something like this, and actually I could probably move this into the card loot table. Okay, actually let's do this. Card loot table manager. Here, let's do this. So for each var randomized randomize on drop in cards dot of type I randomize on drop. I would do randomize on drop.randomize, and I would pass in the args.rng here. So it preserves the random number generator. Yeah, I think that would be the way to do it. So I could implement an interface then in the specific, on the specific cards that need to be randomized on drop. And then I could just call the randomize function and then they can handle their logic. I think that might be the way to go. Because then basically every time a card gets created during the run, it's going through the card loot table manager. I don't think I'm creating any cards. Well, there's a couple places where I'm creating cards, but everywhere else where I'm creating cards, it's... Well, maybe that's not true. I think this is a good enough approach. There's going to be a couple of gaps where this doesn't work. For example, if I use the gold to create a copy of an item. Actually, is this just using the duplicate? No, it's not. This doesn't target reagents anyway, so I guess there are certain cases in the code base where like I might create another card without doing the randomization. But this would work, I think. Transient RNG. So I would need to do that from here as well. I randomize on drop. Is this a good pattern or do I want to do something else? The other problem is I need to get the RNG into the item. Alchemy revert alchemization. Wait, I think that might actually break the piranha too. Yeah, that's gonna break the piranha. That would actually change. Okay, so I've got a couple of things to fix. Okay. We're gonna go off on a side quest, I guess. Allow items to... update piranha. I always forget how to spell piranha. Piranha? 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 Yes. Okay. Update piranha to use interface. Ensure alchemy reversion restores the initial base cooldown. Use for reagent that randomly assigns a keyword to remove from an item. I'm just wondering if there's like a better alchemy global random ability. I think that that's okay. Wait, is this just wrong? I think I have a bug. Mystery tonic may choose a reagent ability and have no effect. That's kind of unfortunate. Ah, there's so much going on. Alchemy add output. Okay, all right. I think we can do this. Let me just go with this and see what happens. Am I using this anywhere? Oh, is this in the wrong spot? This is in the wrong spot. This is the wrong word for this, but I don't care. Namespace, game.data.card.util. I'll come up with a different name for that eventually. Let's just call it RNG, I suppose. I'm going to fix the piranha first. Argos.rng. So I may actually want to store. I actually don't know if that's correct either, but whatever. We'll keep going. We're just going to keep going headlong into this. Okay. So the piranha is going to implement... Wait. I don't know where I got that implement idea from. Randomize on drop. Public void. Randomize. Random number generator. RNG. Randomize on drop RNG get set. Maybe just get. Does that not work? Oops. Private random number generator randomize RNG. Randomize RNG is equal to new random number generator. Seed is equal to RNG.rand unsigned long. And then we do, let's do random number generator. I'm going to do something here. New file, random number generator extensions. Namespace, game.data.util. No, game.util. Public static class, random number generator extensions. Public static random number generator. Duplicate this random number generator RNG. Return new random number generator. State is equal to RNG.state. Seed is equal to RNG.seed. Okay. So the reason why I want to do this is because what I'll do is I'll do a var transient RNG is equal to randomize RNG.duplicate, and then we do transient RNG that. I guess it doesn't really matter here, but the point is that when I call randomize, I just want to store a snapshot of like what the RNG that was used to build this item was. And actually, what I might want to do well, let's just do this first. Random number generator. What is it called? Randomize on drop RNG. Okay. I don't really want to make it the responsibility of the caller to create a new RNG object for me. The problem that I'm trying to get to is I want, if I call randomize, basically I should be able to replay this randomize and get the same result. And actually what I can do instead is I can do this. Let's call this source RNG instead. And I'm going to say randomize RNG is equal to source RNG.duplicate. Oh, you know what's a problem here? This is not going to be save. Oops. Oops. So essentially the plan here is I will call randomize with args.rng. What that's going to do is inside of the Piranha, it's going to create a duplicate of that RNG. So it's not going to advance the RNG that I passed in at all. Source RNG.duplicate. I suppose that's okay. So I basically just create a random number generator that has the same state, the same seed, but it's a different reference, so that when I advance the RNG, it doesn't affect the original source. And that should allow me to replay this. But I also don't want to advance this either, so we're going to duplicate it again. The idea being that I should be able to replay this as many times as I want and get the same result. The problem, though, is that this is not going to be persisted to the save file. So... and actually, for the Piranha, that doesn't matter. For the Piranha... Actually, yeah, because this base cooldown is going to be set to... Or is it going to be saved to the save file? And maybe what I'll do is I probably do want to advance the source in here, and we'll save that there. Goodness gracious. So what got you into game dev? Sorry, I haven't paid attention to the chat in a while. I've been in the zone. What got you into game dev? I don't know. I was 14 years old or whatever, and I just wanted to learn how to make games. I think it's a pretty standard story. Like, I just thought, hey, I think it would be cool to be able to make a game. And yeah, just picked up Game Maker at that point, or around that point. I don't remember the exact timeline, but yeah. Sorry, I haven't paid attention to the chat for a while, but that's all right. I noticed, hello HiveB. I noticed one comments the Wanderbots video about Alchemortis. Some people don't like that they can rotate a card. For me, I think design choice to make think better. Yeah, I mean, I've mentioned this before, but yeah, rotating items is not going to be part of this game. I mean, maybe I'll introduce an artifact at some point that will allow you to rotate things, or maybe even having a reagent that could rotate an item would be kind of fun. But I'm not going to make that like a core mechanic. And the reason is because, again, I want everything to go through the alchemy system. I don't want players to have too much... Well, yeah, I guess I don't want them to have too much freedom to like be able to optimize their board without using alchemy. So the solution to having an item with a shape that you can't use on your board is to try to get the relevant abilities onto an item that will fit on your board, right? So it's part of the mechanic, it's part of the puzzling. I think rotating items is very important if you're not going to have something like an alchemy system. So like if you just get items like in other auto battler inventory management games, and you can upgrade those items and you can synergize with those items, but you can't really change what abilities are on the items, then yeah, I think rotating is a very important part of like the grid management, right? But because the alchemy system exists, that's the way that you're supposed to min-max your build, up to and including getting all the right shapes, right? So yes, it is me dodging a lot of work, but also I think, I actually do think the game would be hurt if I just allowed people to rotate items just as a matter of course. So that we talk about constraints a lot on this channel, how constraints are important. I think that's important for like proper strategy games as well. Like the player has to have certain constraints that they operate within. And that will actually create, I think anyway, compelling gameplay. Obviously, you don't want a player to feel so restricted that they don't find the game fun, but giving them like a well-bounded like set of constraints forces them to think more in the way that you want them to think for your game. How was he able to use this in a static method? It's an extension method. So extension methods in C# are essentially a way that you can add, this is not technically true, but you can think of it as being able to extend a class without modifying the source code. Now that's not actually how it works under the hood. I think it just creates like normal static methods under the hood. But it's like syntactic sugar basically. The alternate way of doing this would be to do something like public static random number generator duplicate, and then I just pass in a reference to the random number generator, and then I return that or whatever. And the way that that would be used is I would essentially have to do random number generator extensions dot duplicate and then pass in the source RNG, right? So that'd be the typical way that you would do something like that. But the extension method, it basically registers this duplicate as a method you can call on the class directly. And again, it's just syntactic sugar. It's not actually extending the class, but now I can just call the duplicate method on the source RNG object, right? So it's very, very nice to have. It's just basically a way of like quasi extending classes that you typically don't have the ability to modify. But anyway, I don't know what I'm really doing here. Let's see. Right, so I think what I need to do now is now, wait a minute. Am I barking up the wrong tree? I should have probably tested this first. Let me try something. I think I'm getting confused because the base cooldown modification on the Piranha... No, actually, I think I'm right. I think I am right. So if I take a Piranha, it has... Oh, why does it have a 100-second cooldown? Oh. Oops. Let's just put that back. I'm not currently using the randomization at all, so. Okay, so if I add item Piranha, 4.5 seconds. If I alchemize it with something, deal 7 true damage. Okay, so it's 4.5 seconds. Now if I add item, I almost forgot what the new item was. Chrysalis. This is probably going to change the cooldown now. Yeah, 4.3 seconds. So that's the problem. So this is supposed to revert to the pre-alchemy state, but the problem is that's creating a brand new item, and that has a random cooldown on creation. So that's the problem that I'm trying to solve here. But I don't think I need to persist this to the save file. I think what I can do now, this will actually be a good test to see if this works. I think what I can do now is in the revert alchemization, we're going to say if target is I randomize on drop, target randomize, and new card is I randomize on drop, new randomize. Then what we're going to do is we're going to say new randomize dot randomize target dot randomize, or target randomize dot randomize on drop RNG. So I'm basically just recalling randomize on the new item. And I'm passing in the stored randomize on drop RNG. So it should create the exact same result. So I add the piranha again. I add, let's just do that. Go ahead, add item chrysalis. I should just add these to my debug settings so I can get. So that's a 100-second cooldown. That's not correct. Okay. Well. Yeah, the problem with this approach is that now I got to identify all the places in the code base where the item needs to be randomized. Which is a little bit of a pain. Shoot. The problem with this approach is I need to specify which randomize to use. Oh, that's a problem. Mm-hmm. I don't really know what to do about this either. I've got a bunch of different places. Oh wait, card loot table manager, pick card with ID. Yeah, this is going to be a little bit messy, I guess, but now I'm wondering, I don't know, this is a lot of complexity, but I do need to fix this. Now I'm wondering if like, should I pass an RNG object into the create card? Two card instance. Wow. Katana's looking sick in game. Thank you, Gimity. When do you think it will release your game? Before the end of the year. Before the end of the year, yeah. Can you just make a call fiction for the randomizer? Make a call fiction. Oh, thank you for the membership, by the way, Shadow Marco. Appreciate that. Call fiction for the randomizer, just shooting an idea, really new at game dev. Yeah, so the core problem here is that there's a lot of different places where I am creating items. And I need the randomization to be called when the card is created. So typically what you would do in these situations is you would funnel everything through the same creation function with all of the arguments that you need that would like make sure the card is created the correct way every time. So I'm actually wondering if there's a better thing to do here. I mean, I guess there's only really a handful of places in my code base. So the only thing that I really care about is pick card with ID. Fudge. I may need to think about this as well. Oh man, we're just getting thwarted by issues here. So in most of these cases where I'm calling pick card with ID, those items do not. So there's only a handful of items in the game that are going to have this iRandomizable. So what I think I might do is I might go ahead and just say, I don't really know if I like this approach. Random number generator RNG equals null. Randomize RNG. If is randomized on drop and randomize RNG is equal to null, we're going to do data initializer.log.warning. I wonder if that gets, do warnings get logged to Sentry? I think I would like to see this warning, or maybe I just make it an error. Picked card with ID, card ID that requires, randomization, but no RNG was supplied. Something like that. So we could do something like that. So now in my cheat helper, what I'll do is I will, anywhere where I'm calling pick card with ID, I will supply matthewtil.rng. This is just kind of like my global default RNG. I don't care if these aren't seeded, that's okay. Okay, that's probably fine. There is another error here which I need to address. Let's say if source RNG is equal to null, data initializer.log.error tried to initialize randomization with null RNG, falling back to global RNG. So we'll say source RNG is equal to matthewtil.rng. Okay. I don't really know about this approach. I'm going to see if I can unify this more, but I think that will be okay. I think the important thing is to at least log the errors so I can go and address them on a case-by-case basis, which may not be that big of a deal because, again, there's only going to be a handful of items in the game that need to randomize on start. And so it's not like having a systemic approach to that is absolutely necessary, but so if I add item piranha, that should be randomized properly now. We'll alchemize it. So the whole reason I did this is because I want to make sure that when I use the chrysalis now, when I use the chrysalis, it creates the 4.4 again. So it's replaying the random. Actually, I think I am. Now that I think about it. Oh, man. I think I do need to save this to the save file, the RNG. Because when I do the alchemy revert alchemization, I'm calling this. Okay. This is a little bit wonky. Wow. So the problem is indeed that I do need to save that to the save file, because if I maybe base card. Yeah, so here's the situation where it will break. So I loot a piranha, I pass in the source RNG, it randomizes the cooldown. I save the game, I close the game, I reopen the game, I load my save. This RNG is empty. Right? Now I do have a way of fixing that. I could add the persistent state pattern to the base card. So I could store arbitrary data about each card that I want to store. But the problem there is going to be that kind of like balloons the card creation. And I'm still like, this whole RNG thing is still not sitting easy with me. So I wonder... So what I would do is I would store basically the RNG object in the save file on that piranha instance. And then on load, I would restore the randomized RNG object to be the exact same object. Now the base cooldown will be persisted to the save file, so it will retain its cooldown. It will retain its cooldown when I load the save. It's just when I do something like alchemy reversion, it will randomize the cooldown again. So the question is, how far do I want to go with this? I'm thinking maybe we just go and work on the reagent that I was talking about. The reagent that will remove a random all abilities with that keyword, and we'll decide the keyword randomly. But I'm still probably going to need I still will probably need to persist that to the save file now that I think about it. Maybe that is the way I need to go. I need to be able to store arbitrary data on an item. Oh, no. No. So the piranha is really the only problem. Okay. All right. I'm just going nuts. That's okay. I'm just going to keep all this in progress. I need to like work on this some more to see like what this turns into, but let's create that reagent that I've been trying to create. Card creation tool. I don't know what size to make it. Maybe we don't have many 1x3 reagents. I don't think we actually have any 3x1 reagents. So we'll figure this out. We'll do a 3x1 reagent. We're going to call it, yeah, see, I don't even know what to call it. Okay. Let's create the alchemy ability first. Goodness gracious. This is what game dev looks like. This is the weird thing about like when I get closer, as I get closer and closer to releasing Alchemortis, it's becoming really, I'm becoming really uneasy about like changing core aspects of the code because we have a playtest running. The playtest is relatively stable. There's relatively few bugs, especially since I've fixed everything. Everything's working more or less pretty good. And now I'm going in here and I'm like adding this whole new thing. And so part of me is like, should I just work within the bounds that I have until release? And if that means that I need to rework the piranha so that it doesn't have that random cooldown, if that means that I need to rework this reagent, well, actually this reagent is going to be fine. So alchemy, remove random keyword. See, the problem is determining the keyword when it gets created. That's the problem. And I want this to be seed safe too, so that when somebody encounters this thing, when somebody encounters this thing on the same seed as somebody else, it will have the same keyword. So I still do think I need that random drop pattern. Yeah, maybe this is just, it would be simpler if I just made individual reagents to like remove keywords. That may be what I end up doing because I think this might just be too much. Yeah, the problem is like injecting random data into the card when it drops in a way that's seed safe, so that if you were to replay that seed, you would get the same exact result. And I did not design the cards with the intent that they would be randomized on drop. That's just like not a concept that is supported by the code base. And so adding it this late in the game is doable. It just comes with a lot of opportunity for bloat and errors and spaghettification, right? Hello, help me escape India. I'm still writing code by hand in the age of Claude Code. I am. Gotta go, but join the Discord. Thanks for the chat. Yeah, thanks for joining. Appreciate you being here. All right, I'm gonna take a quick 3-minute break, and when I come back, we're gonna have to figure out what to do about this. What I may do is I may cheat a little bit. I may cheat a little bit. Yeah, I think what I may do is just remove the concept of randomizing. Yeah. So I know how to fix the piranha. So we're just gonna remove the randomization stuff, I think. And then this reagent, what I'll do is instead of creating an individual reagent, I can create a reagent with 3 abilities on it. There's nothing in the game that says that I have to have 1 ability per reagent. So what I could do is I can make a large reagent, and I could say items to the top have their bleed abilities removed, and items at the bottom have their fire abilities removed, and items on the left have their heal abilities removed. I can do that. So there's ways, because what I don't want to do is create like 10 reagents, and each reagent has a different like remove keyword. So I might as well just do multiple removals in one item. Yeah, I think that's what I'll do. All right, I feel good about that. Okay, here's what we're gonna do. All this stuff, I mean, that was a good little side quest. There definitely is a path forward on that, supporting randomization on card drops, but I don't think it's wise to support that. I think I should just operate with the assumption that the items are static definitions, that the only time that they change is through player action. Otherwise, every time you get a card, it will be the exact same thing every time. And that's going to actually greatly simplify everything. Yeah. So we are going to discard all these changes. Goodbye. Actually, we can keep that one. Yeah, we can keep that one. Okay. Remove this. Wow, this is not making a whole lot of progress on this stream, but that's how it goes sometimes. These ones are just removing and cleaning up stuff, so that's fine. All right. Hello, I'm Laxon. Welcome. You're on a 7-month subscription streak. Thank you. That's very much appreciated. Thank you. Thank you. Did you make your game's art? I did. I did make my game's art. All of it by hand. Goodbye, VM Shura. All right, I'll be back in just 3 minutes, and then we will continue on with the stuff that I actually want to get done here. So, trying to decide. Yeah, let's do the new reagent first, and then I'll rework the Piranha maybe off stream. But anyway, BRB. Okay, I'm back. Sorry, give me 1 second here. So we'll see what we can do about this. I think removing abilities with keywords is going to be okay. The problem is I probably will need more tooltip support for that to mark which abilities will be removed. So there's actually going to need to be some structural changes. Wow, nothing I'm doing today is that easy, is it? Nothing I'm doing today is that easy. Well, let's just get something very basic working. I don't know, let's create, I have this idea for an item. Do I want to make it 2 by 2? I kind of like the idea of 3 by 1. Maybe we make it 3 by 1. I don't know. I can always rename this later. I'm going to call it Prismatic Essence. 3 by 1, create. Let's not worry about that just yet. Okay, so let's actually create this ability now. Alchemy, remove keyword. Okay, alchemy, remove keyword. We're just going to copy paste this. Alchemy, remove keyword. By the way, the music is cool. Glad you like it. It's just royalty-free background music. Okay, so this is actually going to be somewhat difficult. Let's do keyword. Keyword. Private string key. Let's call this keyword key. Alchemy, remove keyword underscore keyword key. Keyword key is equal to keyword dot base dot ID. I think that's what I wanted to do. Actually, there may not be a base. No, base always exists, so that's fine. The reason I need to do this is because there's variants of keywords. So there are actually separate keyword objects for all the different ways that keywords can be phrased. So if I look at my keywords.cs, you could see, for example, confuse keyword. This has, it's the base confuse, but it also has a variant confused. And this is mostly just to make it easy for myself to like do the string interpolation to add the keywords in. But the problem is that confused needs to be the same keyword as confuse, right? So the variant basically registers, it registers the base keyword, the confuse keyword as the base. So that way I know that all these things are related. So I just want to reference the base, make sure I'm at the base keyword, and then use that ID. I think the ID may be the same. No, it won't be the same. So yeah. Anyway, so there we go. Keyword key is copyable, is reagent. Okay. I also need to provide a query target provider for that. And we'll just say this dot query target provider is equal to query target provider. Get rid of all this, add the query target provider there. Removes all abilities from query target provider dot to query string template 0 with Actually, maybe this is not necessary. I can do remove all keyword abilities from that. So this would be ability alchemy, remove keyword. Ability alchemy, remove keyword. Keyword dot base dot id dot to upper invariant. Okay. Goodness gracious. Add additional keyword. Keyword? So many keywords. Okay, contribute effect. Effects dot remove abilities to remove from card. Do I not have a register for that? Oh yeah, register abilities to remove. Okay. Register abilities to remove. Oops. Abilities to remove from card target. This is an IEnumerable, so this would be target dot get base composed abilities dot where x dot has keyword. Am I not storing the keyword? Private read only, keyword to remove. Okay, keyword to remove is equal to keyword. And then I'm just going to change this as well. Anyway, register abilities to remove where it has keyword. Keyword to remove. We'll just make this a list to be safe. All right. I guess we'll just pass along the query target provider. I don't ever know if these abilities are duplicated, but I guess that's not a problem. Is it a problem if these get shared by reference? That might be a problem, actually. Let's just be safe about it. There is a buck outside my window with a broken antler. Oh no. It's like staring down my neighbor. Oh, that's not good. Oh, there's another buck. What is going on? Okay. There are 3 bucks in my backyard. I think they're fighting. I would take a picture, but I don't want to dox myself. It's trivially easy to throw the picture into an AI and say, "Where is this person's address?" Not that I'm super worried about that, but you never know. Yeah. What in the world? Yeah. $3. That's kind of weird. Anyway, what was I doing? Query target provider. So we'll just duplicate that query options object. And then we'll pass that in here. Okay. So we're just duplicating it to be safe. Register abilities to remove. Where is this even used? Skeleton. Let's see. Register abilities to remove. Maybe this will be okay. Anyway. So now we can go to the prismatic essence, new alchemy, remove keyword. Let's do keywords.damage. Query target provider.creates options. I might as well just create this. Okay. Options dot query directions is equal to board inventory component query directions dot top adjacent. Options dot query not query directions. Actually, I think that's it. Oh, options, custom filters equal to card dot has related keyword, keywords dot damage. Okay. I think that's right. We might as well just throw another one on for good measure. Let's do bottom adjacent, fire. Okay, let's see if I did it correctly. Oops, did I commit something that doesn't? Wait. How did that end up going back? Did Godot put that back? Oh. Maybe I should build this again and make sure it works this time. I thought I moved that. Maybe, I think Godot sometimes recreates things for some reason, or maybe I did something wrong with Git. I don't remember. But I have the iCard execution listener here, which is correct. And that's being used in the proper spots. So I don't know what that is, but interface, commit. Okay. Anyway, so I built that. I can run the translation generator now. Let's see what we got. Alchemy, ability alchemy remove, keyword damage. It's not removing, or it's not doing the fire now. Oh, I forgot to change it here. Here we go. Okay. Let's see if that works. Oh, I need to also prismatic essence. I need to do 3x1 reagent. Okay. Random question. How many monitors do you have for game dev? Just 2? Yeah, I just got 2. They're 1440p monitors, so I feel like I have plenty of space. I never really felt the need for a third monitor. 2 is like just enough for me. Oops. Okay. Wait, did I not save this? Okay. Removes all damage abilities from top adjacent items. Removes all fire abilities from bottom adjacent items. So I'm not indicating abilities that will be removed, but I should be able to do this. I got it corrupted, but it did remove the damage. Wait, did that corrupted ability replace? Oh, I need to... No, I did it wrong. Good thing I checked. This needs to be x.is alchemizable, and that's what I was missing. Debug. Prismatic essence. Let me also make a note for all these things. So delete this. Make piranha cooldown increase per cell to the left and cell up. To remove randomization on creation. And then also we are going to do item prismatic essence. We need to do the art, flavor text. Okay. I'm facing the dilemma between having a Switch Lite and wanting to use it, but I can't have it modded, and physical games are super overpriced where I live, and I don't want to buy digital. Oh, that's quite a dilemma. That is quite a dilemma. So that should remove... Yeah, that removed that ability. Cool. All right. So that seems to work. So yeah, so now we have the ability to have reagents that remove abilities. I do need to make the alchemy tooltip. Alchemy tooltip needs to show removed abilities. Okay. I guess we'll try the fire ability as well. Oh, it gave me a corrupted ability. That sucks. Boom, empty funeral pyre. Look at that. Yar life. Okay. Initial work on prismatic essence. So I think that's a good place to stop. So we've got that reagent in progress. I need to obviously do those things that I wrote down here, and I'm gonna fix the piranha as well. But yeah, I think we're good. So I'm just gonna finish that up this afternoon. And then once I finish those things this afternoon, I am going to go back to the drawer stuff. I need to really figure that out. I don't know what I'm gonna do there, but anyway, that's going to be it for the stream. Thank you all for watching. Thank you for being here. If you're interested, you can wishlist Alcamortis on Steam. You can also try the playtest. It's available now. So just click the request access button from the Steam page and you'll get right into the playtest. Thank you all for watching. Thank you for being here. I appreciate your support, and I will be back at it on Monday at 10 a.m. Eastern. So I hope to see you there. Have a great weekend, and bye-bye for now.